Here's the one huge tip that I will tell you, that you don't want to be frugal in this. This is where you absolutely do not want to be frugal.
So today I have this interview that I did with a gentleman named Dustin Heiner, who's going to be talking about how he used frugality as a way to help fast track his process to becoming a multimillionaire. And I'm really excited to share this with you because I think it can really go a long way. So make sure you stick through the entire interview because it is jam-packed with great information to really help you. Now, if you haven't heard of Dustin before, I will actually have a link to his website in the show notes down below. Make sure you check him out and see what he has to offer because I think he can really teach a lot when it comes to being able to build more wealth. And in the comment sections down below, let me know what your thoughts are on frugality as a way to help get you to becoming a millionaire faster. Now, if you watch this channel, you might already know that I'm a big fan of being frugal, especially if it means to help you build additional wealth down the road. Also too, if you enjoy this type of content and want to see more interviews with successful people who have been able to build wealth, make sure you hit that like button down below. That way I know to keep on working on these type of videos to bring more value to you. And if you don't like that stuff, no worries, just go ahead and double tap on that dislike button. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hop onto the interview. So I think when a lot of people talk about frugality, they usually see it as somebody that is maybe low income or maybe even average income for people, but there's actually a lot of people out there that have a lot of money or have built a lot of wealth that are still frugal. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the biggest misconceptions for a lot of people is that they don't have to be frugal, but I think it's also something where it's a habit that you built before to be able to get to that position a lot quicker in your wealth, right?
Yes, so absolutely. I wouldn't say it's necessarily because of my frugality that I'm wealthy. It's a tool that I use to help me to get wealthy even faster. So here's the mindset shift that I had to take. So I was always taught, and we're always taught, if we go to school, we're told that you need to get a job. You need a good job so you get paid every single, you work an hour, you get paid money. Well, I don't live like that anymore. I got that out of my mindset to where now, instead of earned income, where I earn money, I make passive income. So I work one time and I make money over and over and over again. And so getting that first mindset shift of changing from working for an hour and making money to where I'm doing passive income. So with my passive income, I buy rental properties. So I'm going to try to help you to understand everything out in rental property perspective. When I buy real estate, it's because I have money to then buy real estate. Now, there are ways to buy with low and no money down. There are ways to do real estate, but it's really, really hard. It's a lot of work. Like it's literally you go out and put your nose to the grindstone and get those jobs done or those deals done. But the way that I do it, I'm frugal. So here's how I started. I literally had, so when I got married, I was living paycheck to paycheck. In fact, I had maybe like $2,000 in debt. So I didn't have a lot of debt, which was good, but I was living paycheck to paycheck. And I wasn't really frugal. My wife was. So she had, with us getting married, we got a gift of $17,000 total out of not just the gift, but everything else. We had $17,000 in our name, and we didn't have anything else. I was working. She quit her job. She moved to California. So what I did was I bought one rental property with that money. We're going to do it. We're going to do it, even though we don't have any money. So I bought one rental property. After I bought that one rental property, it was bringing in $300 a month into my pocket. Now, I could have said, we have an extra $300. Let's just go get a car. I didn't do that. I said, you know what, I'm going to be frugal, and not just frugal in a sense that I'm going to cut something out, which is what I did, but on top of that, I saved that money. So I didn't raise my standard of living, I kept it where it was, and so now with that extra $300 a month, I saved that on top of what else I'm saving so I can then buy another property. So each property that I bought, so if I make $300 per property, if I have 10 properties, that's $3,000 a month coming in. Like that's passive. That's after all the expenses. That's after the mortgage, after the property manager, taxes, and all that sort of stuff. That's $3,000 coming in my pocket. Mm-hmm. Now, that's something that everybody can do. It's just we got to build it up over time. And so frugality really helped me to build my business, and buy properties so much faster.
Yeah, and I think we were talking about it, is that the whole mindset of like, well, why should I do it now if I'm not there yet? It actually helps you get to that point faster, potentially.
Oh, so much faster.
And I think it's a great thing to start building. And maybe not everybody is out there to want to be wealthy or have financial independence, which I think would be strange. But I think for the majority of people, having that freedom of being able to do the things you want to do, or having enough money so you don't have to stress about things, would be something we want to do. And having it ready by practicing these skills now, I think can go a long way.
Absolutely. And so it's a mindset that people have to have. And everybody who is frugal, you understand that there's a mindset. Like you think that way. Like before you buy something, like how can I do it differently or whatever. And so that mindset is not necessarily inherent inside of everybody. And so you have to build that in. And then when you have money, and that's like we were talking about in the past, that if somebody just wins the lottery, they go broke like within a year or 2 years later, and they're in fact in huge debt because they don't know how to spend well. They're not financially understanding it. So so with my students, when I teach them how to invest in real estate, a big key that I also teach them is how to think like a rich person. So not just continue thinking like you are, but how do rich people actually think? Mm-hmm. Do they think, should I go out and mow the lawn and save money, or should I, instead of do that, pay somebody so then I can then make money a different way? And so I teach people how to make sure that you go from a mindset of working an hour to making $1 to then where you work 1 hour and you make money over and over and over again. And so when I think of being frugal is just another tool in an investor or a business person or a wealthy person's toolbox that is able to help you get faster. Let me give you an example. So when I buy my next property, it's because I saved the money from the other property. So I have 30 plus properties now. And so the next property I buy, it's because all that money's coming in. I didn't go out and buy Porsches or Lamborghinis or buy mansions, or I didn't do that because I know I want to keep continuing to build my business. So all that money I keep saving. So then I go buy another property and I own that property cash outright because I just paid the cash for it. So I use that as a perspective of being frugal helps me to build it even faster as well as even stronger, where now I don't have a lot of mortgages on all these properties because I paid cash for them.
Because you're being intentional with how you're using that money. Being frugal in the sense of, like you're saying, because for a lot of people, if they start coming into $300 a month extra, mm-hmm. they tend to spend more of it and not being very frugal with it. Because even just putting money aside, that's still being frugal. That's still saying, hey, now that I make more money, but I'm putting more aside, that's a very different thing to do than most people do nowadays. Yeah. And that mind shift, I think, can really, really change perspectives for people and then get them to a level where they're not, living paycheck to paycheck. Yep. And not living a life where it's, struggles to get through, where if you do have some type of business or side gig that you're trying to build up, that's a great way to, mm-hmm. to really help, build wealth. Because I think not just being frugal, I think there's other aspects to it, but I think that's a great tool to have in your overall tool belt. And
so for anybody watching, if you're thinking, well, I'm nowhere near the point where Dustin's at, or, I don't have any investments or anything like that, here's the one huge tip that I will tell you, that you don't want to be frugal in this. This is where you absolutely do not want to be frugal. And you'll understand when I say it. You want to pay yourself first. You want to make sure that you're paying yourself. Don't be frugal. Don't skimp in paying yourself. And some people might think, well, I work a job and I'm getting paid money, so I'm getting paid. I'm paying myself first. So no, actually not. If you have a car loan, that money, before you made it, it's already accounted for. It's already going to go to the bank. If you have a mortgage, if you have a credit card debt, if you have childcare, whatever, all that money is already allocated. It's already going to a certain spot. And so what we need to do is, in paying ourselves first, is we're saying, let's say you make $1,000 a month. I know you probably make more or less, whatever it might be, but let's just round numbers, easy numbers. You're making $1,000 a month and you're saying, I need to pay myself first. And paying yourself first means I'm going to take 10% or whatever percentage out. I'm going to force myself, take 10% of that money, put it in my savings account that I can do with what I want, which is, for me, it was buying investments that made me more money. So I would say $1,000, I take $100, put it in my account. Don't pay it for cell phone bills or, go spend it on entertainment. You're literally saving that so then you can then build your wealth. Yeah. And so if you just do that, that alone will help you to get to the point where you can buy your first property. And then, because here's what people might say, well, I don't have 30 properties. It'll take me forever to get there. Well, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You do it one step at a time. And so you buy one property, and then the next year you try to buy another property. The next year you buy another property. The next year you buy 2 properties. And so it's one step at a time. And so for me, this is, and what I teach all my students is, when you invest in yourself by paying yourself first, it's a get rich plan. It's a get wealthy plan. It's not a get rich quick scheme. If you think, oh, I could do this in 2 years, I'll be able to quit my job. Well, you possibly can, but it's not a get rich quick scheme. Yeah, what we're talking about is building wealth.
Yeah, building wealth is, I think, it's like when you talk about building in general, you have to lay foundation, and I think the foundation would be the process of being frugal, and alongside with some other things as well too. But having that in your tool belt, like we were talking about, will really help you out, because then, you know, like you're saying, if you're putting $100, you know, a paycheck into a savings account, you know, you're forcing yourself to then have to be frugal in those aspects of like, okay, well, now I have, you know, 10% less money to be able to spend on. How am I going to make this money stretch? And, you know, it's, I can understand from different perspectives of saying like, well, yeah, like you were talking about, like, well, I don't have the ability to get rental properties. Well, if you put money aside every single month, if you know, pay yourself first, if you're frugal in that aspect of saying, hey, that money is going to something else in the future, that will go a long way for you, and then it builds up that habit that we were talking about.
Absolutely. And so to really sum everything up, the way that I built my business was to be frugal, but then also use that as a means to buy and invest my money into properties where I was able to make money. And so I'm frugal, which means I have more money in my pocket or in my savings account because I'm frugal. But that savings account I then deploy, or I use it to buy investments that then make me money every single month. And then that money I save even more. So then I then go buy more properties that make me even more money every single month. And so I've continued from the very beginning when I was frugal, when I had no properties, to where I am now, where I'm still living in a 1,200 square foot house. And you're like, well, why don't you go buy a big mansion? I'm like, I could, but I'm fine right here. I may eventually in the future, but right now I'm fine. I still drive my 2007 Honda Odyssey. Well, it's fine. I don't need to buy anything brand new. It's just the way it is. And so frugality helped me to save money, then buy investments, which then make me even more money. So how frugality is such a benefit for me, then I made it even faster. My business was so much faster than in 9 years I was able to quit my job and never work a job again.
All right, so I hope that gave you some great value here today on this video. If you want to keep on watching more with Dustin, go ahead and click on this playlist right over here.